Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Post Fight Podcast. It's Nick Atkin and JHK, SCMP, MMA, South China Morning Post. I'm in Hong Kong. He's in South Korea. Going to break down UFC 263, another huge event. Israel Adesanya, and still your middleweight champion, Brandon Moreno, the new flyweight champion. Leon Edwards beat Nate Diaz. Plenty of other drama. John, what did you make of that show, man?
It was a very good show. The main card was really good. I don't know about the prelim so much, but yeah, I really enjoyed the pay-per-view portion a lot.
Well, we also had Jamahal Hill in his arm. It wasn't broken, it was actually dislocated, apparently. I thought it was broken by Paul Craig. He had the 7-second TKO from Terrence McKinney. That was incredible. Plenty of stuff. Let's start, though, at the top of that card. Adesanya, still the champ. All right. Vettori, in my opinion, got completely schooled here. It was very one-sided. 50-45, 50-45, 50-45 across the board. What did you make of Izzy? You know, he had some adversity in that Blachowicz fight, didn't he? And I think he's given a resounding answer to any critics.
Yeah, he came back really strong. But to be honest with you, the fight wasn't like extremely dominant. You know what I mean? Like he was just outclassing him completely. Like Marvin was doing a good job. He looked a lot better than he did in the first fight. His striking was better. His takedown is better. He even went to, he even got Izzy down and even took his back for a short period and was going for that choke. I think a lot of people are overlooking what Marvin did. You know what I mean? I think Marvin did really well. And Marvin is only 27 years old. He's not an old dude in the division. He still has a lot of time to improve and come back and fight for the title again. I see him being in this, top 10 for a long time, for many years. People, I don't know. I think they ride on Izzy so much that they kind of overlook the other guy. And it was a 50-45 on the scorecards, but there were some of those rounds was kind of close, man. What do you think? Do you think some of the rounds were close, or do you feel like all the rounds Izzy was just completely dominant?
I thought Izzy won every round handily. Maybe the first round, you could argue Vettori took him down, but he did nothing with the takedown, and Izzy got back up. Was it the second round? He got him down again and had the rear naked choke attempt, but again, Izzy was able to slip out of that. And I think after that, Marvin had nothing for me. Izzy never looked in danger, and he looked like he was having fun. We was toying with him a little bit. He was, crying at the end of at the buzzer. He was slapping his ass at the end of the fourth round. He was just seemed really loose and enjoying himself. And I have no problem with 50-45. If you have anyone in the comments, what did you make of it? I think either way, Marvin has no case for victory. And but like you said, he's very young. He could come back. Got to go back to the drawing board. That's what Izzy said to him. I think Izzy was a little bit pissed off because at the end, Marvin was saying, "I won the fight." Did you see that? They were talking after the
Yeah.
decision was read out, and he still thought he won. I mean, Izzy mentioned it in the presser I just watched. He said, you better respect me. Certain people thought I won that fight. Certain people thought he won the Blachowicz fight. He was saying, but I told myself I knew in my heart I lost it, and I'll take it as an opportunity to grow and to learn. That's what Vettori's got to go and do, right? Because if you just lie to yourself and say I won that, he didn't win that fight.
No, but the thing is, like, Vettori wasn't close to being finished in that fight either, though. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know. I think people are overblowing it. I think people are. I picked Izzy to win the fight, and I picked Izzy to win the fight the way he won it. You know what I mean? 5-round decision, outclassing him, but he didn't really have Vettori rocked. Like he didn't have
Mm.
Vettori on the ropes. You know what I mean? It was just like a technical battle. And I thought Vettori looked okay. I thought he looked better than he
Yeah,
did in the first fight. Like,
he
I
did.
don't know. He
But Izzy
what
looked better than he did in the first fight as well, right?
Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah, of course. Izzy, a lot of people look at Izzy and say, "Oh, his wrestling is not good." His wrestling is good. He proved it. Even when he got taken down, I think he swept Vettori once or twice, right, on the ground and took like top position. Izzy's wrestling is good. I don't believe like Izzy should go somewhere and learn wrestling. I think his wrestling coach and his team do a great job. It's just that I don't think it was like that dominant, man. It's like, I don't know. Like some people are thinking like, Vettori, of course, if you're Vettori, maybe you think you won the fight at that moment, right immediately after, because you didn't watch the fight again. You know what I mean? And maybe after the fight, after he watches the fight again, he'll realize, okay, maybe I wasn't, or I didn't win the fight. But the thing is, like, I don't know. I think it's getting blown out of proportion. People think it's like completely dominant. Like Izzy was just like styling on Vettori, like it was a Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar type fight. Like,
I can't
come
hear you
on.
guys right now. Give me a moment.
Well, we'll get Chris's thoughts on it in a second. But what I think is, yeah, it wasn't a Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar situation, but it was still, he won every round, and I thought he won them convincingly. And Vettori didn't do anything really for me. I'm not saying he was finished, or he was close to being finished, and he was taking all this damage, and he was rocked, and he looked like he doesn't know what he's doing. He was outclassed. I just think Izzy showed he is a level above everyone else pretty much, and we forgot about it maybe for a brief minute because of the Blachowicz fight. But Israel Adesanya for me just reminded everyone how damn good he is. That's the takeaway. Did you think people had maybe started to question him after the Yan fight?
No, I don't think they started to question him. He lost the fight, and that's what people. You see, the haters are gonna jump on and talk crazy after he lost that fight, saying that like he's lost a step, he's exposed, and all of that stuff. And you could fall into that narrative pretty easily. But then when he came back and he won this fight against Vettori, he proved that he is the best 185 pounder in the world. But it wasn't like he came in there and he just blew the doors off of Vettori. Like he just completely 1,000%, topped his first performance against Vettori. You know what I mean? Like I don't see that. I don't see that narrative. You know what I mean? I see that Vettori got better, and Adesanya was more technical in this fight, but nothing to the point where Vettori was in like complete danger. There was none of that. Like he won the rounds. That's it. And let's move on. Let's get that Whitaker fight, the fight that we should have. But let's let Chris, jump in here and see what he says.
Yeah, man, I'm all for the Whitaker fight. I think Vettori didn't actually show much. I think we have seen this before from Israel. He's one of those guys where he really brings his level up to where you are. We kind of saw that in the Yoel fight where he was fairly inactive. He really needs a dance partner if we are going to see the best of Israel. I do want to see the Whitaker fight. I think it'd be a banger. I'm just a bit pooped out because we seem to be a rematch season right now. We had Figgy Moreno 2. We're probably going to get Leon Edwards Usman 2. We're going to get Adesanya Whitaker 2. We might have Francis Stipe 2 come the end of the year. I like rematches. I just don't want so many rematches all the time. I love fresh matchups, and that's why I love MMA and the UFC.
Well, the divisions are pretty clogged up at the top, right? To where it's like if you're in that top 5 or so, you're gonna fight some of the other guys multiple times, and especially when there's guys like Whitaker. But Whitaker, the thing is, like his rematch is justified. He went and like won 3 fights in a row to get that title shot, even though he could probably fought for the title before that. So yeah, I don't see anybody else maybe even like if another person gets a title shot other than Robert Whitaker, it's I don't know that it's like like some fighters would say like the UFC is rigged. You know what I mean? It's like rigged in favor of certain fighters, and that will just give them proof. You know what I mean? That'll just give them evidence to argue that. But with going back to the performance, man, I don't know. We should give credit to Marvin, even though Marvin Vettori said that he thinks he won the fight. That's his right. You know what I mean? He's a fighter, and what was really disappointing is that he didn't even get to do a post-fight interview inside the cage after the fight. They just like gave Izzy the interview, and then Marvin walked out. Maybe Marvin doesn't like Joe Rogan. I don't know.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I lost my camera or microphone or something or both. But some comments here. Let's get through this. Marvin needs to learn how to check leg kicks, says Ramses. Yeah. His leg was
but he wasn't
messed up
affected by it. He wasn't even affected by the leg kicks, though.
I think he was. He could no longer come forward with as much power. I think he was neutralized as a threat completely by the end. That's what I thought. He just wasn't able to do anything. He didn't land on Izzy pretty much. Barely. He was throwing so much and barely landed.
But if you
Am I
look at
right?
it, Izzy didn't land as much as I expected either, to be honest with you. You know what I
But
mean?
he's
Like,
always counterattacking, and
yeah,
he's precision over power, right?
he hit the leg a lot. I think he had like 40 plus leg kicks. And man, Marvin, his leg is made out of steel because he took them all like it was nothing, and he didn't show any kind of waning in his movement. But like Nick said, he said he felt like in the later rounds he didn't move as much, and maybe that's true because when he went for the takedowns in the later rounds, he kind of just sat there against the cage, and I was very disappointed in that 5th round. Like, Marvin had no sense of urgency. Like, you would think like he would start to at least try to brawl with him and go for the finish or something, or go to the ground as quick as possible, but it just didn't do that, man. And maybe because his corner told him like, hey, you've won the fight, which is another whole situation right there.
I think the corner were being realistic with him, but he seemed deluded in the corner. He was saying, "Oh, I won that round. I'm doing great," but they were like, "You need to do this. You need to change." Did I get that wrong, Chris? Did you see what the corner was saying to him?
No, not really. No, but they were just. I don't know. At one point, didn't they say after the second round? Didn't they say you won a piece? But I might be wrong there.
Yeah, which is bad advice from corner, I think.
Yeah.
Well, look, whatever happens, it looks like it's going to be Whitaker and Izzy rematch, and Izzy wants to do it in Auckland. Does that go any differently than this rematch?
Yeah, I think that Whitaker is the toughest fight in the division. I don't know if Whitaker beats Adesanya, but I guarantee Whitaker's smart enough to go in there with a different game plan, and maybe even have plan C, D, F, and G and ready to go. So we'll see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Robert Whitaker, I think we do forget. Isn't he only 29? He's 2 years younger than Adesanya. We forget he's still growing, he's still maturing, he's still getting better. And to tell you the truth, he's been one of my favorite fighters for a very long time. And actually, I think some of his most recent performances against Cannonier and against Darren Till in particular, I think there's an argument to say they're some of his best performances. And maybe not physically his best, but definitely in terms of IQ and what he's doing. He seems to have thought out his game much more, worked on his game plan a little bit more. He seems to just be getting better and better.
Okay, yeah, a lot of comments here. I'll try and get through a few of them. Alan Bones Jones, hello, Alan. What's up? Says, I'd love Vettori versus Till now, but sadly Till is fighting Brunson at least, which is also a good fight. Is that one still going to be in London? Have they managed to figure that one out? Have you heard, Chris?
No, I haven't really heard much. I think they're kind of just keeping everything up in the air because right now restrictions are decreasing everywhere. I know in the UK so far there's no full stadiums allowed, and I think the UFC have pretty much come out and said they're not doing half capacity, they're only doing full capacity, right?
Okay, I'll do a couple more comments quickly. Ramses, hello mate, saying Bobby Knuckles is going to wrestle Adesanya in the next fight. While I don't think he got exposed, I do think his wrestling is not as top tier as it could be. Yeah,
but that's what they said that's what they say every fight, though, right?
Yeah,
like, oh, his wrestling not that good, we're gonna go in there and wrestle. The key to, I think, the grappling against Izzy is not taking him down along the fence. The dude has really good takedown defense along the fence, and if you do get him down, he's good at using that fence to get back up. So if you take him down, you need to take him down in the center of the cage and keep him in the center of the cage on his back. Can Robert Whitaker do that? That's the question, right?
You know what? It's kind of similar to Leon Edwards, Israel Adesanya. I'm going to be honest. In my opinion, I don't think either of them has particularly good wrestling. I think if you give it a grade, it'd probably be a C. But what they do have is they have A plus takedown defense, and that's the thing is they don't ever really wrestle offensively anyway. They wrestle defensively. But I don't know if Robert Whitaker's going to go in there to look just to wrestle him. I think if you want to beat Israel Adesanya, you actually want to mix it up. And I think you want to mix it up. And the person who's done it the best so far is probably Kelvin Gastelum. Actually, that's probably who you look at. And if you look at Gastelum, he didn't go out there thinking, I'm going to wrestle him. He threw everything at him and mixed it up. And I think that's the way to get Adesanya.
That's a good point. Sorry,
I don't think Adesanya will ever get drawn into a fight like Gastelum again. I think we've seen that out of Adesanya, and Adesanya learned from that fight. I don't believe that we're going to see that ever again. We're never going to see Adesanya panicking. None of that. You know what I mean? I think that Adesanya is just too smart and he's just too experienced now to where, and when you look at it, if there's a wrestler in that 185 division, right? A wrestler, like a pure wrestler, a guy that could go in there, MMA grappling, there is nobody in that top 15. Do you see anybody? He's beaten some of the better grapplers, right? So I don't know. It's going to be hard to see. It's going to be hard, but like I said earlier, Robert Whittaker has the best chance because he's a mixed martial artist. He knows how to mix everything up together. And I think it's going to take a perfect game plan. And I don't know if you're going to be able to finish Israel. I think you're going to have to beat him on the scorecards. And it's going to be like, barely edging him out. But it's going to happen eventually, right? It's going to happen. Everybody gets beat except for Khabib.
Yeah.
When does Rising start, us, Alan? I think it already started. Has it?
Yeah, just Sidario just got choked out. Lost first professional loss.
There you go. So I don't know, Alan. I want you to still watch this show, but maybe you can have two browsers open and watch both at the same time. And we plan on doing a little recap of Rising at some point tomorrow. I think me and Drake, and I'll ask John if he's got time. But we got business to handle here. We're going to talk about that co-main event. Shall we move on? Let's go to Brandon Moreno. Wow. Rear naked choke submits Davison Figueiredo in the third round, I want to say. Was it second or third? My brain is a little foggy. And then he took the back. That was an incredible move, I thought. Looked like some pro wrestling shit. Unbelievable performance. Figgy just never really turned up, I felt. And it might have something to do with that weight cut. He weighed in with 40 seconds to go. Didn't look like himself there. And Moreno looked like he wanted it more. Just plain facts. And a lot of people sensed it during fight week. What did you guys think? Did you feel this upset was coming? Was it even an upset? Why don't we start with John first?
Well, it was an upset because Figueiredo is the champion, and a lot of people felt like he won that first fight if there was no point deduction, right? And I don't know. I think the difference maker is that Brandon Moreno went back and trained for 6 months, like he said, for this fight. He trained 6 months on the game plan, on the combinations, on drilling, everything. And man, I just feel like Figueiredo didn't do that. And when he went out there, it was a whole different Brandon Moreno. And I think Figueiredo thought it was going to be the same Brandon Moreno. And then and that's why he wasn't, charging forward. That's why he wasn't doing the same as he did before. I don't think it's the weight cut because he's always had those hard weight cuts and he's always showed up for fights and dominated fights. So I don't want to allow an excuse like that. I think that it was just preparation. I think Brandon Moreno just was more prepared, more ready. And when he went in there, he executed it perfectly. And I was very surprised because I picked Figueiredo to win this fight, and I was completely wrong. And Brandon Moreno, man, what a story. An incredible story. He was cut by the UFC, returned after one fight in LFA, and now he's the undisputed flyweight champion. What can you, man, it's hard to hate that guy, right?
Well, I just loved the whole, it was an incredible moment. I had tears in my eyes. I think a lot of people did.
Oh my God.
I don't know why.
Nick.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You and Brandon are buddies? What's going on?
No, it was such a feel-good moment, I think, and you could see how much it meant to him. And given everything that happened to him, picked last on Tough, I think he was a 16th seed, cut by the UFC in 2018. Wow, what a comeback, right? A career comeback.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible moment. And he's just a nice guy. And I think you've seen that all week. People have been drawn to him, and really the star was born, I think, here. And let's see. Chris, sorry, I'm going to throw it to you. First of all, what do you think of the fight? But also, what do you think Brandon Moreno can be for the UFC in Mexico?
It was totally dominant. Brandon Moreno is going to be a huge star. Did my picks with Nick on Thursday. Usually once I put my picks in, I stick with them. I was considering changing it after I saw the weigh-ins, after I saw the ceremonies and whatnot. Brandon Moreno seemed to, the whole time going into the fight, ooze nothing but confidence and self-belief. Figueiredo didn't really look himself. He looked like he had the tough weight cut. He could barely walk getting off them scales. He just didn't seem his energetic self at all. I thought it was a bit of a masterclass by Moreno. I mean, this is a guy, I think he's 27 years old. still massively young. So this is what I keep saying is don't be surprised when these guys in their late 20s come back and they make these huge strides in a 6-month period, because they're still learning. They're not the completed article yet. They still have a lot more growth. And it does make you wonder where Figgy goes from here, because I think he's 34, right? Which is not old, but it's fairly old for the division. And I think Brandon Moreno, I think he's just going to go on to be an absolutely huge star in Mexico, in America, wherever Mexican people are, wherever Hispanics, Latinos be at. People do forget out there, if you just look at Mexicans in America, it's the 9th biggest economy in the world. Yeah, that's right. A bigger economy than Brazil, than Italy, than South Korea. They have a lot of money to throw around just in America. So, if he can get to some level of fame, a quarter of a Canelo in Mexico, he's going to be a filthy rich man and going to be enjoying a very, very good life.
I'll just read this comment here. Back on Izzy, but and then I'll throw it back to you, John, about this fight. But yeah, how come we're not talking about Izzy's adjustment by varying his low kick rhythm so that Vettori couldn't catch his kicks? And Izzy using his question mark kick to rear low kick combo was incredible, says Ghost Phantom 98. Yeah, maybe we can talk about Izzy a little bit later again. But yeah, John, just wanted to ask you, do you think Figueiredo, a few people have mentioned it, he can't make the weight. Should he? I mean, he can make it just, but should he think about going up to bantamweight? He's talked about it before, but is now the time? He looked a little compromised to me there.
No, I don't think so. I think he's just stay at flyweight. If he wants to go to bantamweight, then he should. But I don't think he needs to go to bantamweight. Look at the clusterfuck bantamweight is right now. Think about it. Why would you want to go up to a division where it's like the line is longer than the post office for a title shot, right? They're just waiting, right? And these guys are fighting each other, but whoever wins is going to still wait and wait. I think Figueiredo, he could go home. I think he's made some money in the last year or so to where he could kind of chill out for a couple months, maybe even 6 months, just train and relax, and then come back and maybe even win a fight. Because I still think that if he goes out and fights another contender, he'll fight for the title again. They'll give him a rematch if Brandon Moreno's still the champion. Because you remember the first fight, like I said, Moreno, it was a draw, but the reason why it was a draw is because Moreno got that point, or Figueiredo got a point deducted in that third round. So maybe they do that third fight, maybe in 2021 sometime. I don't know, but is it 2021 right now, or are we 2020?
It's 2021.
Okay, yeah. 2021. Okay, so 2022 next year. I'm tripping. But yeah, it's just Brandon, with Figueiredo, I just think we're just jumping too quickly for him to move up in weight. You know what I mean? I think we should just wait and see because there's like Askarov is still in line for a title shot. You got Figueiredo, who actually has a win over Brandon Moreno. I think he's in line for a title shot. So there's guys there. Who? Oh, no, sorry, not Figueiredo. Pantoja, yeah, Pantoja, sorry.
Yeah, Pantoja's ranked third. Pantoja beat Brandon Moreno once, got a draw with him the second time. You could set up the trilogy, and that'd be really, really tasty. I know I always like a little bit of an informal Grand Prix, but, Figueiredo should fight one of those two, and one of those two should go and fight Moreno for the title, and then we've got a clear path to the championship for Figueiredo to work his way back if he can and if he wants to.
Do we have a immediate rematch there, the trilogy? I think someone asked Dana about it, and he may have said he's open to it. So
I don't think so. I think you've got your first Mexican-born champion. I think he'll have some of those pesos waving in his face from some sponsors in Mexico, TV deals. I think you give him a cheeky little, maybe a little bit of an easier fight, or you bring something up from the past where he's got a loss he can avenge. You've seen them do it before when they've got a champion from another country. They did it with Bisping, where they kind of gave him Dan Henderson just so he could defend the title in the UK. Mexico is a huge market right there next to America. And as I said earlier, like you've got places like California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas that have these huge Mexican and Latino populations that will back these fighters all the way.
All right. Well, apparently he didn't talk about a trilogy at the presser. I must have been hearing things. I was kind of half listening to it while writing and editing some stuff. But I'm sure he will be sorry, asked about it. He said, "We'll see after Tuesday is the matchmaker meeting." Of course, classic Dana. He always says that.
problem
John,
is,
sorry.
if you have a trilogy, it could end up like Kevin Bellingham and Bibiano Fernandez situation. Because if Figgy comes back and win, okay, you've had a trilogy, but it'll be one apiece. Where'd you go from there?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll fight each other again, and like you said, I think they could end up fighting each other 4 times, maybe 5. But I wouldn't say I enjoyed both of those encounters. I thought it was a great fight. It was really fun. John, sorry, did I interrupt you? I don't know if you were saying something.
No, you didn't interrupt
Okay.
me.
Cool.
I just think like there will be a third fight, but it's not. I don't know. Would I be mad if they made it right now immediately? I don't think I wouldn't be mad because the first fight was a draw, right? And we'll see, but I don't think so. Like Chris was saying, I don't think they're gonna give him an immediate rematch. I think they're gonna move on and give someone else in the division a shot at the title. They got to, man.
Okay. Who did you guys pick? Let's need to check who we all picked for a last.
Oh man, can I just say one thing? I do have to apologize. I have to get this bad boy out, you know, a little bit of deodorant because I stumped the place out with my picks this week.
Oh wow! Well, we all got Adesanya right. JHK was on the money. Drake got the pick right, but he went for the finish. Didn't happen. Moreno, the only one who went for Moreno was Drake, and again he went for the TKO. Is the submission. So Drake was bold, but he paid for his boldness. We all went for Figueiredo. Shows we don't know much, right, guys? I don't know.
Neither do the bookies then.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I think it was still a surprise, but maybe it wasn't as much as a surprise after what happened this week with the weight cut, and Figueiredo seemed all fired up. I don't know. But why don't we take a look at Nate Diaz, Leon Edwards? We all got it right. I think we all figured it was going to go to a decision and a unanimous decision for Leon. And Leon was cruising, right, guys, to a 50-45, like absolutely cruising.
Can I throw something out there?
And then,
super quick, we were all bagging on the decision. I was just going to say, maybe I should have added this onto the end of the conversation, but this would have been in Asia, if this would have been in New York, if this would have been somewhere with a little bit more regulation, this fight actually could have been a KO, TKO, and they could have called it off for the cut. It would have got called off in large parts of the world. Sorry to interrupt, Nick.
No, it's all right. That's another part of it. Yeah, I mean, Nate was badly cut, took a lot of damage like he always does. I think this was a new cut, the one open on the side of his head, and there was one above the left eyebrow, which he said he did in training. But still, Nate Diaz, there's that myth, isn't there, of Nate Diaz being that guy. I saw this on the Twitter timeline. You know, as it was ticking over till the end of the fight, a few people I know were saying, "Oh, this is a myth that Nate Diaz comes on strong in the championship rounds and the 4th and 5th rounds." I mean, he's only done it twice in his career, and he's lost both fights. But then Nate Diaz fucking cracks Leon Edwards. Oh my god! And Leon wobbled, and it looked like he was going to finish him with 1 minute to go, and the place went batshit, didn't it? What's it called? The Gila River Arena in Glendale, Arizona, went batshit crazy. Nate nearly did it, but Leon managed to just about hold on to him enough. Wow, what a finish. Kind of weird, isn't it, given everything Leon did in the fight, that people are talking more about Nate, you know. It's kind of typical, I think, for Leon Edwards. And this was meant to be his star-making moment, but in effect, he may end up not getting the headlines he deserves. Is that fair?
I don't actually think so. I think he's going to get all the headlines he does deserve. I think, to tell you the truth,
everyone's talking about Nate.
Oh,
because he's the more famous guy.
Yeah,
that's why. You know what I mean? Like,
I think Leon's going to get all the plaudits. It was pretty one-sided for 23.5 minutes. I mean, you have to be some kind of CTE deranged Nick and Nate Diaz fanboy to think Nate came anywhere close to winning that. I mean, he only really showed something.
He did. He
level.
did come close to winning the fight. What are you talking about, Chris?
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean overall, but I mean
overall,
Leon dominated that fight for
23
and a half minutes. I mean, if you were to show that fight to anyone, like that 23 and a half minutes is one, how to fight. And you know what Leon Edwards is so good at? He's so good at conserving energy, his economics of movement. He's just absolute fantastic athlete. I think he's got one of the best fight IQs out there. I don't know if he showed anything that would make you think that he's going to trouble Kamaru Usman again, but he's pretty much worth his title shot now.
Nate Diaz, he had the best moment in the fight. That's just say it what it is. He had the best moment. He had the moment where the fight could have been finished. But Leon outclassed Nate Diaz up to that point completely. Nate Diaz was doing some stupid shit like turning his back and like acting like he's walking away. And I you know what? I'm tired of that shit. Like I'm over it. Like I'm not one of these like I liked the Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz like 5 years ago, right? When they were like real fighters. Like I'm tired of that. It's like what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like of course, you know, Leon's not going to fall for that. Leon's not that type of fighter. He's not a type of fighter that's going to get dragged into your antics. You know what I mean? He's going to go in there and do what he does. That's what Leon Edwards is. And I think you should give all the credit to Leon Edwards for the performance he put on, but there should be some credit to Nate Diaz for almost finishing him in that last 30 seconds. And if he really was a killer, he would have finished him, but he's not. So let's move on. Let's move on from Nate Diaz and let him go fight Masvidal or Conor. I think those are the only fights left for Nate Diaz. Who else wants to fight? Of course, I think everybody wants to fight Nate Diaz, but I don't think they're getting paid more to fight Nate Diaz. That's the problem. Nate Diaz is getting paid a lot. It's just the guys that are fighting him probably not going to get paid more. It's not like a Conor McGregor situation where they're main event pay-per-view. Nate Diaz is not that person. What's his record? What's his record in his last 5 fights?
Let's have a look.
1-4.
1-4. Come on, dude. Like, it's just ridiculous. And it's like the one that he won was against, I think, Pettis, right? He beat Pettis, right? And Pettis is so inconsistent. We've seen him in the PFL. He just lost his last fight to Clay Collard, a guy that I bet you half the people that watch the UFC had no idea who that person is. So Nate, man, he's gonna have the cult following. He's gonna always, have these fans, these like rabid fans, and the Diaz brothers are always gonna have that support. But at the end of the day, man, you gotta win fights. If you don't win fights, people like us don't care.
The thing with Nate Diaz is he's got a big name, and the UFC pretty much used Nate Diaz tonight to build Leon Edwards. And I would say, and I don't know if you can throw him against someone that highly ranked, but say if the UFC are looking in a fight or two to give someone like Vicente Luque or Michael Chiesa a title shot in welterweight, maybe you give them a Nate Diaz to try and get them over. I don't really know, but yeah, that's it, man. I mean, look, for the amount of times people keep asking Dana White what he thinks about Logan Paul, Mayweather, and how he's not interested in celebrity fighting. Nick and Nate Diaz are kind of like ex-pros who have become celebrity fighters. I feel like they live a little bit more in that realm nowadays than in the actual fully competitive. I mean, he could have gone out there tonight, Nate, and left everything out there, gone out on his shield, given every amount of energy he has. He didn't do that. He was flipping the bed. He was turning around to his opponent, trying to mock his opponent, and not in the way Adesanya was doing it. Adesanya was doing it for position of dominance, laughing at his opponent. While Nate Diaz was like, he kind of seemed like a bit of a sore loser, It just seemed like he wanted to try and get one up on him when he was clearly losing the fight. And as well, I think that also might have played into, did he look a little bit sloppy when he did Rock Leon? Do you think he could have gone in a little bit more, a little bit faster? Or was that just...
He stood there and pointed at him.
Well, he always does that. He always does that, though.
Yeah, but I think
he always does that.
When I watched it back, I did it on the stopwatch on my phone, which is not... But I had it as something like 9 seconds before we went for another strike. And I'm just like, if you've wobbled someone, maybe try and get that in there a little bit faster. I don't know, but I don't see that mentality anymore in Nate Diaz from to get to the very top.
I thought he was faking it for a second. Like Leon, when he got hit, I thought he was faking it a little bit because he recovered so quick after he kind of like wobbled a little bit. And then that's when Nate went in and tried to go for the finish, right?
Mhm.
I don't know, Nate Diaz, he's always going to draw fans. And of course, they're on the west coast of the United States. Nate Diaz has a Mexican background. That's why Brandon Moreno was getting so many cheers, because it's so close to Mexico. A lot of Mexicans in that area. I lived across the area, like on in California and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of people supporting him and Nate Diaz. Even Leon Edwards was getting booed. I never even heard that before, right? It was just like, was he the heel of all of a sudden? Even Figueiredo was the heel too.
Can I say something tonight? This was such an odd event because this is actually the first UFC event I can remember in America where it actually felt like a UFC event in Europe, where if you were fighting an American, you just got booed tonight. You just got absolutely everything booed out of you. Figgy got booed out of him. Um, Paul got booed. Leon got booed. Jojo got booed. I felt everyone who was an American tonight was really getting booed, and I like it, man. I think if you are going over there to fight an American, yeah, why not, man? You're fighting Nate Diaz in his backyard, you know what I mean? And look, at the end of the day, he's got all the boos, but Leon got an easy win. He has the right to walk through Stockton anytime he wants. I hear if you beat Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz, you can walk through Stockton and slap up anyone you want. So Leon's got that.
Okay, well, why don't we move on to the next fight? Bilal Muhammad beat Demian Maia by unanimous.
Super quick,
Sorry,
guys. Before we move on to the welterweights, are we going to see Leon's next fight? Is it going to be for the belt?
I don't think so.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good topic, actually. Some people are suggesting the BMF belt in the comments. I think it was Ramsey's, Leon, and George. But no,
Yeah.
I really. What did Dana say? Let me think.
Dana
Let me
doesn't
have a little
care.
look. Well, Usman did say that wasn't enough. I think he said something like that on Twitter that you got to do more than that to earn the title shot. I think Leon will have to wait. Personally, I think they're going to do Colby again. So depends if Leon wants to hang around. Maybe that's why the Masvidal fight makes sense. Yeah.
Do you think Leon might have a Chandler kind of role where he'll go and weigh in and he'll be the first reserve? Do you think if Leon gets offered another fight, do you think he should take it, or do you think it's time for him to just hold out for that title shot?
Well, yeah, these are all options, aren't they? He could be the backup, but do you want to be the backup? Does that slightly disrespect him a little bit? Is it worth him doing that? Or is it better for him to fight someone? That's the question. Dana said Leon versus Masvidal is the fight they can always make. I don't think Masvidal will want to fight him though. But they should do it before it runs out. There's an expiry date, I think, on the 3-piece and the soda thing. It was already 2019, right? Over 2 years ago.
No.
Masvidal's never gonna fight Leon. Let's just forget.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. I think the only way you really get Masvidal Leon to go is if you did it and you gave them those pay-per-view points and championship points for a BMF title. And I think the only way you actually do that is if you're going to do it in a fairly big arena in the UK. I think the only way you get Masvidal and Leon to fight is probably UK, Madison Square Gardens. I think you put the BMF belt up, but I don't know. I feel like Masvidal is kind of in a similar place to Nate Diaz, where kind of is just looking at money fights.
Oh man,
yeah.
I don't know why people keep bringing up the BMF title. Like, let's just move on from that. Come on, like, what is the point of passing around that belt for? They're not gonna do it. That belt is owned by Jorge Masvidal. It's over and done with. He's not gonna put it up for grabs. If he did, he should have put it up against who? Usman, right? When he went into that, because I think he was holding the belt during the fight week. So I don't know. Let's move on from that. I think Jorge Masvidal, he's not going to come back unless it's a big fight. You know what I mean? Like a major fight, like Conor or Nate Diaz. I think that's the only fights that I think will bring back Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal is busy doing his business ventures and flying around the world in private jets and and
Game-bred
hanging out.
fighting championships.
Exactly, man. Like he's making moves, like Scarface. He's making moves, right? So Masvidal is not going to come back for Leon. I don't think it's going to take a huge ask by the UFC to bring Masvidal back to fight Leon. Leon, I think he deserves the next title shot, but I think the UFC waited for this fight to see what happens. If Nate would have won, Usman would have signed the contract immediately to fight Nate next, but Nate lost, and now Leon is in a position where he's not the number one contender anymore. It's Colby Covington, because that's the fight that's going to generate the most buzz, and Colby's going to sell the hell out of that fight, and they actually really hate each other. So I think next week we're going to hear something. Someone's going to interview Colby next week to see what he says. And the thing about Colby is we never could believe what he says. Like half the time he's just lying, right? Because he's playing this character. So
just wait until he's on Submission Radio. Those guys and Colby, for some reason, they run together. I just don't want to see Usman have 3 title defenses in a row. 3 that I think he'll win, and I don't want them all to be rematches. That's just my personal preference, but I don't know where else we go from here.
Yeah, it's true.
I think they mentioned Wonder Boy's the fresh matchup, isn't he? So
yeah, but
maybe if Wonder Boy beats
Gilbert
Burns,
he's gonna beat Burns, and then Burns goes in there. But who knows, man? That's not even really a money fight or any kind of like fight that grows the profile of Usman at all, except for maybe one more additional title defense. And it's a dangerous fight because why? Stylistically, Wonder Boy's dangerous for everybody, right? Because if he didn't have the knockout power, then that's a different story. But Wonder Boy can knock you out, right? So it's dangerous for Usman to take, and there's not much of an upside for that. But I don't know. With this one, it's like we have to sit back and wait for this division. The welterweight division is it's good, and there's like a lot of good fighters, but the champion is just so great right now to the point where like trying to figure out like, oh, who's next, who's best, all these guys sitting out, at least Leon's fighting. Colby just sitting there like doing interviews and drinking Bang, and I don't know what the else.
Well, I think it's interesting because we didn't have a single title change last year, is that right? And now we've had 4 this year already. Whaley's lost. Peter Yan lost his belt. I know that one was a little bit controversial, to say the least. Figgy's lost his belt. Who else am I missing? Stipe. All right. So, yeah, but Usman is always the one for me who is the most dominant, I think. And I think what I'm trying to say is, can anyone catch him? Did we think some of these other champions would be champions for a long time?
Yes, we did.
Does it show? So
Figueiredo.
It could happen.
A lot of people were like, he's a marauder. He's a killer. He's a...
Yeah.
And then what happens?
He's the god of war, John. Dave's the Guerra.
Yes.
G-O-W. Nick, is I'd probably say Nunes is probably more... Nunes and Shevchenko are probably a little bit more dominant. And I wouldn't sleep on Volkanovski either. But he's up there at the moment, Usman. He's right along, probably just below Shevchenko and Nunes because they've been champions for so long and just been totally dominant. And then probably Usman's probably very similar to Volkanovski in his dominance right now. While Volkanovski hasn't defended that much, those 2 wars against Holloway were pretty impressive.
Well, he's up soon against Brian Ortega. We'll see. At the end of the tough, what is that, September, they'll be fighting. Anyway, Bilal Muhammad, Damian Maia. It wasn't a great fight, was it, guys? The crowd was pretty restless all night. They did not like it. That was Chris Edwards-Bailey.
Chris, justify this, please. Justify this, please.
Because there wasn't a lot to win on the odds. So I just thought, I want to get big on this. I don't know how Bilal Muhammad will win, but I 100% know if Damian Maia will win, he's going to win it with a sub. There's no other way he's going to win. So I thought I'll take my $100. I'll 3 times it on the greatest fantasy app out there, guys, Fanatics MMA. Download it now. But I felt like I had to throw it. And you know what? After what's happened to Jacare, after what's happened to Yoel Romero, losing some of the legends of the game, some of the legends of the divisions, guys being moved on, I just wanted Damian Maia to have that moment. I wanted him to be able to do what so many others cannot do in this sport, and that is walk away into the sunset victorious. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be. I hope I don't have to see Damian Maia in bare knuckle. I think he's done enough in jiu-jitsu and in MMA. I'd love to see him call it a day, to say the truth. I think he's done everything. He hasn't taken too much damage, but I'd love to see him retire now and call it a day.
Yeah, I don't think he should be offered a new contract. I think that was the final fight of his contract. Is that right, John?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Mm-hmm. He's the oldest
Yeah.
fighter.
Do you want to see him hang around
outside of heavyweight, right?
43, right?
Yeah.
I realistically, I don't think there's anything he can do. He's not going to get a title shot. He's already had two, right? He's not going to get back up there.
And he's ranked number 9 in the division, which is kind of pretty nuts for a 43-year-old, right? Much respect to Damian Maia. But I knew this fight, it was just like Belal Muhammad he's kind of like a I don't want to degrade Belal Muhammad, but he's kind of like a lower level version of Leon Edwards. You know, like he goes in there, he wins the fights, but they're not really too spectacular. He does have his moments, but most of his wins are by decision, right? Even Maia won the first round of the fight. Do you guys agree that? Like, I thought he won the first round of the fight. Maia did. And then Belal,
I think two of the judges had it 29-28, right?
Yeah. So Belal took over in the second and third. But the thing is, Belal doesn't, if you look at his track record, the last finish I believe he's had was his second fight in the UFC. That was in 2016. So he hasn't finished an opponent in so long. But he's still good enough to beat a Damian Maia, I thought. Damian Maia age, catches up with you. Damian Maia is great. His boxing looks good. But it's just not, his jiu-jitsu hasn't shown up in the fights as of late, right? So that's why I picked Belal Muhammad, younger, faster, and very safe fighter, right? He'll go to the decision and win. But the thing is, like, he needed to go in there and finish Maia to kind of like pop in front of everybody on this pay-per-view, right? But he didn't do that. That's another problem with him, is that he doesn't take advantage of the moments. The last fight against Leon Edwards, that was one of those moments too, but he got poked in the eye. That's understandable, man. He got injured. But this one, they gave him another chance, and he went out there and just won the decision. And he didn't he just smashed Damian Maia for 2 rounds. It's just like he won the rounds, right? He had some good moments, but man, it just, sometimes they don't take advantage of these moments, right? And that's what hurts fighters like Belal Muhammad and even Leon. Leon should have got on the mic after the fight and been like cutting the promo. You know what I mean? I know that's not really who he is, but he could cut a decent promo, right? You don't have to really talk crazy shit to cut a promo. But it just didn't happen for these guys, man. And it is what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, Leon, he didn't cut the promo. And again, I think it was all set up for him to go and really, really put on a dominant performance, maybe finish Nate Diaz, and that they wanted him to become the star.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he comes out of this like a star at all. And the Leon Edwards, it's a mystery to me. Yeah, he's so little known, given he's third ranked now. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, let's go on down the card. Who is next?
This was such an amazing fight. I was sat there with my Union Jack wrapped around me, with God Save the Queen in the background. As we headed into the main card with my pictures of my favorite princesses, Markle and Diana, on the wall. As we went into this fight, the UK was 0-2 for the night. It had been a disastrous night so far. Poor Darren Stewart and Jojo Calderwood. And you know what? We all had Jamahal Hill on this. We were all back in the former basketball player. And I was thinking, if he loses this is going to be a bad omen for all the British fight fans out there. Think of poor Michael Owens awake at 3 a.m. in the morning in Newcastle, drinking his brown ale. But you know what, Paul Craig, he does what Paul Craig does. He threw the ball, he threw that Hail Mary, and he got the touchdown, right?
Oh, okay. So it looked like he broke Jamahal Hill's arm, but apparently it was only a dislocation.
It was a dislocation because you could see, like, after the fight, the way he was holding his arm, you could see the elbow like the bone, kind of like the socket bone, like holding, like pressing against his skin. So you knew, in a way, you kind of knew that it wasn't broken. It wasn't like dangling too much. But man, big props to Paul Craig, dude. That dude pulled guard against a guy that has major power, even in ground and pound. Locked his arms up. He threw up that I think the left arm. He trapped the left arm and tried to go for the arm lock there. And Jamahal Hill got out of it. And then immediately after that, got into the guard again, and then threw up the arm bar on the right arm, or the left, on the right side, and then got it and dislocated the elbow. And then, man, that arm was dangling like John Holmes in the 1970s skin flick, dude. It was just like, I thought the ref was gonna jump in much quicker, you know what I mean? Because you kind of, didn't you see, like, for like at least 10 seconds that arm was like dislocated? Didn't you guys notice it?
It was absolutely clear. As Paul Craig said himself, it was like a wet fish dancing all over my body. And then he also likened it to an elephant trunk. Yeah, it was clearly going like this, I don't know what which ref was it? The bald guy, I think it was.
Yeah, the guy from Star Trek. The captain, Captain Picard. He was like,
there you go. Right, well, so. Picard fucked up there. It was, I think Dana mentioned, it was ridiculous, but should have been stopped about 10 seconds earlier at least. Either way, impressive performance from Paul Craig, right, Chris? Jesus.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. And you know what? Like, I think that's probably got to be his first win against someone who's ranked, right?
Yeah, he's on a 4-fight win streak now, I think.
Yeah, so, it's fantastic.
But this is like maybe one of the this is the most impressive victory, I think. Let me double check that.
And the thing is, right now, that division, particularly at the bottom, and you've got a lot of falling knives out there, and some are easy to catch, and some are going to rip your bloody hands off. There's guys out there you can look to fight. There's your Misha Serkinov, there's your Jimmy Cruz, depending when he's back. I'd love to see someone like Johnny Walker. Paul Craig, I think, would be really interesting, because Paul Craig just has like one hell of a chin, and you know what? He's one of those guys, he can lose every moment of a fight, and he can just sub anyone. And he's probably the best submission artist above 170 we have. He's just absolutely fantastic.
I think this was Dana said something that ref is Arizona's Mazzagatti. Yeah.
That's a low blow right there. That's a low blow. Yeah. Man. Dana throwing low blows.
To be fair to Paul Craig, he did say afterwards, didn't he, that he stopped putting any pressure on the arm once he realized he'd done damage to it, and was just doing hammer fist to his opponent's head so as not to do him any long-lasting damage, which I think is a funny statement in itself.
Yeah, because he was smashing his head in at the same time. So. But dude, Paul Craig, man, he's one of the most dangerous dudes in the 205 division on the ground. You could say that, right? Legit, like if he gets you down there, he's gonna take your arm home, or he's gonna take a neck or your neck and squeeze real tight until you sleep, and maybe even visit the dark side a little bit. But the thing about Jamahal Hill, right? With Jamahal Hill, I don't think he.
Hello.
Oh, the white Jamahal Hill, Drake Riggs. Now, with Jamahal Hill, I think he doesn't really lose too much stock in this, man. I think he's still a good prospect. He's still a guy that we could still be high on. He just ran into Paul Craig at the wrong day, and Paul Craig took his arm home. But the thing is, I think Paul Craig, it lines him up for a good fight soon. Like you said, Chris, Misha Serkinov he's ranked higher. He doesn't have a fight, I believe. Johnny Walker is actually set to fight Thiago Santos. Volkan Ozdemir is actually a very interesting fight. He's ranked up there higher. They should give Paul Craig a guy that's up higher in the rankings. I think that would be something that's justified. Jamahal Hill, he's ranked number 15. I say keep him there. Don't give him anybody his spot, and have him fight somebody, that's available in that top 15 again.
Jimmy Crute, when he's back.
Yeah, Jimmy Crute versus Jamahal Hill would be good. Yeah, that's a good fight.
Man. Look, you have to think. I think Jamahal Hill, he only got involved in mixed martial arts in 2017. So he is only 4 years into his career in this sport. But to go against someone like Paul Craig, who I think he has something like 15 years doing jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? So, it does show that there is levels to that. And, if there was a way Paul Craig was going to win, I don't know why we didn't all put down submission on the fantasy app, but you win some, you lose some.
I thought I actually picked Paul Craig. Apparently, I did not. I went for Hill. So, yeah.
I was very hesitant.
Me and you did.
We all got it wrong.
Yeah.
Leon Drake is here. What's up, Drake?
Hey guys,
how was
what's
the
going
show?
on?
You were there. Big night.
Yeah,
Big night.
crazy. The record for longest event in UFC history, right? Which is
Really?
We knew that was possible, but it didn't feel like it being there. I don't know how it felt for you guys watching from home, but
And then longest press conference in history as well, I think.
Nah, I feel like there's been longer, but it maybe very well could have been.
Or maybe, I mean, what I should say is it finished. There was a late finish, right? I mean, Izzy wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
There were like two more questions.
You know, the prelims pacing was really good though. Like they went through the prelims pretty damn fast. But the thing about it was they're all decisions basically, right? I think there was like 2 fights that were
McKinney's
finishes.
knockout was just it, I think.
Yeah, the one fight, right? One fight.
Yeah.
But that Brad Riddell Drew Dober fight, man, what a crazy fight that was. I loved it. It was incredible.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that next, actually. So why don't we get Drake's thoughts on that fight? That's a good idea.
Yeah, that fight was definitely a very awesome one. A lot of momentum shifts, sort of. I mean, Brad took over as the fight went on. He got clipped pretty early on by Drew and just kind of found his rhythm and timing going from the second round to the third. And yeah, man, that was a banger. Everyone expected that to be a banger. Delivered completely and got fight of the night, rightfully so. Yeah, really big deal for Brad Riddell, moving up and still wants that Gregor Gillespie fight. Yeah, this one was very fun. Not surprised. Both of these guys are always fun. So put them together. We got some fireworks. Oh, I see Dober Fiziev suggested there by Alan Bones Jones. Love it. Love it.
Man,
no one's going to fight Fiziev.
I think Dover should fight Diego Ferreira, man. I think
that's a good one.
Be a better fight than Riddell.
Oh, I got that mixed up. Oops.
Yeah, Fiziev, man, that's a tough fight for anybody coming off a loss. Like this one right here. I think Drew Dober, he won that first round. The second round, you could have gave it to Riddell, and that third round, I believe Dober was winning it until he got rocked, and kind of Riddell finished that round very strong. Or did he get rocked or did he get taken down? He got rocked. I think
he got hurt pretty bad.
He got rocked. And he seemed like he was somewhat fatigued a little bit. And but he was on his way to winning that round, man, I thought. But then, Riddell came through. I think Riddell, man, he's a guy that is very good, but I don't know. I don't think he could be in these wars like this and be a top 5 fighter. It's just like guys like that.
Worked for Gaethje.
It did, but then Gaethje was finishing fights though.
Right.
Riddell's going to decision in a lot of these fights, and I don't know how long that could last. You could be a fan favorite, but man, I think he's gonna have to switch some things up. He's still a good fighter. Like Fiziev, you don't really see him in that type of fight. You know what I mean? Like he's pretty much dominating guys he's fighting. I think they need to give him an opportunity. But yeah, going back to Drew Dober. He's a great fighter, but back-to-back losses, man, in such a short period of time. I know he signed a new contract and everything, but his next fight, he's going to have to be very, very selective on who he faces next, man, because he does need to get a win. 3 in a row in that division is not going to be good for him.
Chris, do you want to say anything about this fight, or should I throw you Eric Anders and Darren the Dentist Stewart?
Do we have to
comment on?
It's definitely.
It was not a great fight.
I don't know what got the fight of the night, but it must have been Brad Riddell versus Drew Dober, wasn't it? I mean, I watched that fight, and you know what? It was like I was actually saying to my girlfriend, I wish the fight would get finished a little bit earlier because I feel like they both took a little bit of years off themselves. I mean, getting yourselves into wars like that all the time isn't great. If that was a 5-rounder on a main event, you would have thought both of those guys probably would have left a little bit of themselves in the ring when they left. Because you do think if we had international travel and this was in New Zealand, you could have Brad Riddell. It could have been a 5-rounder. So absolute war, fantastic fight back and forwards. Got to love both athletes there. But yeah. And moving on to Eric Anders down to, I thought it was a fantastic fight. I think we just found out this is not down to its weight class at all, right?
Yes, this is an incredibly shit fight, I thought. What was it like there, Drake? I guess you could sense the crowd. On TV, it came across like they were angry. They were pretty.
Oh, but isn't Eric Anders super popular?
He's quite popular, but the crowd was very angry with a lot of things for no justifiable reason tonight. And I wasn't out there for this one. I was only out for the very first fight and then the co-main in the main event. But there was
nice.
a lot of.
Glad you got to go out there. I was gonna.
I know,
you,
me too.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the place was definitely rowdy, whether for cheers or negativity. But yeah, this fight was, I think, the worst of the night. Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
I did think when Eric Anders came out and he was introduced to the crowd, I thought that was like the biggest draw of the night, really, since the Chase Super fight. I thought it fell a little bit dead on its face. Because I didn't realize, but Chase got such a huge roar. He seems to be super popular.
I think he's an Arizona guy, for sure. Oh no, well, he's from Washington. I know
he's born and raised in Washington.
Okay.
Chase,
well,
not far from where you're from. Not far from where you're.
It's like 2 hours. It's like 2 hours.
He's born and raised. Yeah, but I've talked to him before about it. With Chase, I think Eric Anders got a large applause is because he was training out of Fight Ready, and then he introduced him as fighting from Alabama, fighting out of blah 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 Arizona, Eric Anders, and when they might not even know who he is, but they just hear that and they're gonna cheer for him, right? Because I don't think he's like that popular in Arizona. Like when has he done anything in Arizona? He went to college in Alabama, so I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, but. Anyways, I don't know, man, that fight, I've watched like glimpses of it, like as I was going through, because I was making breakfast for my daughter, but yeah, it wasn't nothing special. And everybody was like, oh, Eric Anders is going in there. He's going to dominate Darren Stewart. And that did not happen at all.
When does that happen in general? To be honest,
that did not happen at all. And I'm just like, and I almost fell into that narrative. Like, okay, Eric Anders, he looked pretty good in the first one. Maybe he knows the little secret sauce into beating Darren Stewart and finishing him, but it wasn't like that. Darren Stewart actually took down Eric Anders a few times, right? Which was somewhat surprising. But yeah, let's move on from this fight. I think there's other fights we could talk about that's better.
Yeah. Well, how about Lauren Murphy and Jojo Calderwood at the behest of Chris? I've downloaded the scorecard, so I'm going to bring that up. But Chris, you go first then. Yeah.
Take it away, Drake.
Just changed. Drake first.
Yeah, no, this fight, I thought it was very good. It was a little bit more competitive than I expected it to be, but not by a lot or anything. It was so we were talking to somebody while this fight was going on, so I didn't get to pay like 100% attention to it, but it seemed very close, and obviously that second round was not very close. That was the best round of the fight for one person, which happened to be Lauren Murphy, and she got it done. It was a unanimous, right? We got the card right here. All three agreed? Or is it split? I can't see. Oh, split. Okay.
Yeah, split.
So, yeah, I mean, there was no question about that second round. It's surprisingly no 10-8s. I didn't feel it was that dominant for a 10-8, but clearly clear round. Came down to 1 and 3. Obviously, all three agreed on the third round, which that's kind of fascinating. I thought that one was pretty close too. Yeah, pretty toss up. I thought it was very close from as much as I paid attention to it.
Yeah, it all came down to that first round, man. I think that first round, however you judged it, is who won the fight, right? It's just, it could have been a toss-up. If Joanne Calderwood would have won this fight, I would not argue against that, because that first round was very close. The third round, you know, but if you look at the striking differential in the first and third rounds, Joanne completely outstruck Lauren Murphy on the feet. Like there was a huge margin, right? And then that second round, people are talking about 10-8. Like, what is in the minds of people that think what a 10-8 round looks like? Because did she almost finish Joanne Calderwood in that second round? Like, am I missing something about that second round where
it was
Drake,
just total domination? You know, that the 3Ds, you look at damage, duration, what I'm forgetting what the other one is. The D's, Donkey Kong. But if you look at kind of the current rule set, scoring and all that, it just comes down to how dominant you are in a clear dominant round. Those are supposed to be 10-8, supposed to be easier. And interestingly enough, nobody did give it there. But thinking with the old rules, not quite enough. But she very clearly, there's just no denying that she won that round. So
there's no denying she won the round, but I don't think she was like almost finishing,
close to finishing, right?
Yeah. That's the argument, right? So
exactly.
But anyways, it was a good fight. Laura Murphy, she probably deserves to get the title shot, but who knows, man? Nobody likes Laura Murphy at the UFC. It seems like
Dana didn't even commit. He didn't even commit to it.
Pretty sad for Joanne Calderwood. Had the opportunity tonight with a win to potentially be the first British female to fight for a UFC title, but unfortunately,
I'm sorry, Chris. She's from the Seychelles. Are you?
Yeah, she is apparently from the Seychelles, according to Fanatics. The greatest app, except if you want to know where Joanne Calderwood is from, because I know it begins with an S, so Scotland and the Seychelles, they might sound similar, but I'll assure everyone out there they're not the same place, but it is really tough to know where she goes from here, Joanne Calderwood, because I thought she was a bit lucky to get the Lauren Murphy fight. I think she's pretty much gone 1-1 for her last 6 fights, JoJo. So it is really tough, and I'm just not sure at the age of 34 and her future plans if she's ever going to get a chance to fight for that drop, and that's the sad thing.
That's twice now.
Well, it's sad because she had it locked up
3
right?
times.
Well, we'll see what happens.
3 times, right?
How about
the fight against Chukagan, and then the Maia fight, and now this fight.
I was thinking back to Moreau's at strawweight, my man.
Oh, okay. But I think she's gonna still continue fighting. I think that she's gonna still trying to continue. Hey, never give up on these fighters, right? Because we've seen so many fighters come back. Look at Moreno. He was cut by the UFC. Now he's the UFC champion. You can never count these fighters out. Even JoJo, you know what I mean? She's older as a fighter, but she's not completely done. She still looked pretty good on the feet, right? I still think she could improve and come back. But Lauren Murphy, man, I expected Lauren Murphy to go in there and be more dominant throughout the whole fight. It just didn't happen like that. I still think like JoJo stylistically would be a better fight for Shevchenko. Because if you look at the exchanges on the feet of first and third rounds, Lauren Murphy was getting lit up somewhat by Calderwood, right? And imagine if Shevchenko was in there with her just throwing hammers at her, right? Just throwing the tool belt at her. But I can't wait to see it.
Man, can I throw something in real quick?
Yeah.
You mentioned the Moreno one, I know you guys talked about it already, but that moment, that this was the first time I got to be cage side since Bellator 238, Cyborg and Bud, and the place. Moreno's a star, right? Like all fight week, he's been super popular, but the way that place exploded, and like I didn't have any dog in this race or anything like that, no attachments to anybody. It's been great to follow Moreno's career from the beginning to now, that's for sure. But like seeing his emotion and everyone's reaction to that, it like got me a little bit emotional. Like this is such an insane moment for this guy and what he's had to go through, that like, I didn't cry or anything, but I got teary eyed a little bit. It's like, damn, man, that just the way he looked, everything about it was just so incredible. So that was really special to be there.
It's okay if you did cry, Drake. We already know Nick.
I know. I've tried watching fights before, so.
Right, yeah, I was in tears. Yeah. It's fine. Okay, so this is the point where I actually haven't seen the rest of the card because I woke up about
Blasphemer.
9 o'clock. Yeah. Missed everything on from the Evloev and Hakeem Dawodu fight down. So I'm in your hands here, guys. What do you want to talk about from these prelims? I'll flash them up on screen. What's worth talking about? Here we go.
I mean, Evloev, that guy, monster. If you didn't know before,
Yes.
you know now. You know
how did he look?
now.
I heard people were impressed, and I was very impressed with him last time out against in the Mike Grundy fight. So and the Nick Lentz fight. So yeah, he's 15-0 or 14. Is that haven't been updated? He's still undefeated, but
Yes.
sounds like he was very impressive again.
Just dominance, like he looked like a featherweight Habib a little bit out there. And, of course, that's very high praise. And there is only one Habib, but a featherweight guy like that. It was great. He looked sensational, like a future contender. And we kind of needed to see that from him. And in a matchup where Hakeem is very good, too. And this was a fight where I was like, man, both of these guys feel like they could be the future of the division, or guys who stick around the top a little bit. And they're going to make it there. And it's hard. It was hard for me to imagine like either one of them losing right now, and then they get put against each other and just one-way traffic. Hakeem really had no answers. I think it's going to be tough to beat Evloev if he continues to look like this. He was great.
It was kind of like two prospects eliminating each other. But Evloev was absolutely so dominant. I mean, shout out to Tom Taylor. He disrespected you in your country. Justin Trudeau, he disrespected you. Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds, GSP, Ariel Helwani, all of Canada have just been disrespected. I thought it was one-sided. I don't even see the 29-28s that all the judges gave. I saw it as 30-27, but I don't know.
Evloev is like a guy that I don't pick against. He's like, to me, he's like Volkanovski. I'm never going to pick against him until he loses, right? Because it's just... the fight IQ is really high level. And Evloev, the thing about him is he's shown, like, from time to time that he's vulnerable. Like in the stand up in the third round, I don't understand why he wanted to stand there with Hakeem, giving Hakeem a chance to win that fight. And he was clipped a couple times in the third round. It wasn't like that's why he was getting that 29-28 from some of the judges, right? Because Evloev stood in there with him, and Hakeem kind of got his rhythm a little bit, right? But and also in against Grundy in the first round, he almost got tapped out, man. Like he almost got finished with that choke, right? So he's been in some tough spots, but he's always fought through them. So it shows you that he's calm, he's composed. But man, when he goes to the ground with you, like if he's grinding on you, if he gets you against the fence, like he's almost unstoppable in that position, right? He's shown it against multiple guys now. I don't see many guys wanting to fight Evloev because why? What's the upside of fighting him? There is none. Like nobody really knows who he is. We know who he is, but the general public doesn't know who he is. He doesn't speak English. It's not like he's a guy that's finishing guys all the time. And that's one thing I think Evloev needs to work on. If he wants to take the next step, is he needs to go in there and smash guys, like bloody smash them in the positions that he puts them in, or he needs to choke them out, submit them, or he's just going to be stuck like in this like purgatory position where he fights guys that he just come along and fights them. He's never going to get that push. So, but I'm never going to pick against him until he loses. That's just me.
Okay. What's next up? Do you want to talk about this one, Jake? You interviewed Penny, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, no,
Chris,
Penny.
Chris, sorry. Did you have anything to add?
No. Continue on, sir. Continue on.
Okay.
Yeah, Penny went out there, did her thing. This was actually a bit more competitive than I expected it to be as well. Alexis Davis, just incredibly tough. We know that she's been around forever. Didn't really try to take the fight down as much as she should have. Her leg kicks were coming off strongly. Penny didn't really throw any, just strictly boxing from her, but still got the job done. And I was a little bit not sure about how it would go from the judges, if they were going to go Alexis Davis or for Penny, but I did think that she won fairly handedly in the end, in the overall grand scheme of things. But yeah, a lot more competitive than I thought it would be. And Penny now has the longest winning streak behind Nunes. Give her that Rocky fight that she wants and was supposed to have here tonight. So yeah, good win for her. Continues the momentum.
Okay, Chris, that's right to you.
So I was going
What
to
do you
say, I
think?
didn't want to talk, I was talking about the next fight. I thought anyone who watched my preview show with Drake and Nick on Thursday, Drake gave a great reason why he thought Favola was going to win. And I said, I think I agree with you completely, but I fancy McKinney to knock him out in the first 2 minutes. It happened in the first 7 seconds. You can rewind that one back, anyone who wants to watch it. I knew I was going to call this one. It seems this weekend the broken clock is right twice a day. This was one of the pretty much 2 fights I got right. So I just want to bask in my own glory and enjoy the moment.
A broken cock? What?
That's what it sounds like.
A broken clock.
Okay, clock. Okay, I just said a broken cock. I was like,
Wow.
is that some UK like saying? Like some
It is now.
Yeah, it is now. That's like one of our terms now. Like
You
who's
got
the
a dirty
broken
mouth
cock?
on you, Uncle.
Okay, hey, but going back to the Penny fight, I thought she was gonna do much better. I thought Penny was gonna go in there and dominate this fight, but Alexis Davis is a tough girl, man. You know what's a trippy statistic? Alexis Davis is still fighting top 15 opponents in 2021, and Ronda Rousey was retired in 2016. Think about that, man. It's just a weird, world of MMA right there. And someone was mentioning Kat Zagano still fighting in Bellator at the top of the division. A lot of the
Misha's coming back.
Misha's coming back. A lot of the girls that Ronda Rousey dominated are still competing at the highest level right now. So does that mean Ronda can come back today and dominate some of these girls? I don't think so, but no. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Penny, she's on a 4-fight win streak. Good for her, man. She's always cool. Lately, she hasn't been wanting to do interviews before fights for some reason. And Drake got a good one. I think when you're on the ground, it's better to reach out to those fighters, especially.
I mean, I reached out to her actually I was late on Friday because I was like, oh, it'd be cool to hit up Annie before. And then you read it, but she didn't respond. She's like, I'm so sorry. I just really been in the zone for this. And
so ghosted you, pal.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, I know. But we got it done. We got it done. Yeah, and we're hair twins, bun power, so that's fun.
Yeah.
And for Vola, man, he's the last year and a half, he's just had a shitty path, man. He's had fights canceled because his cornerman tested for COVID. Then his opponent tested for COVID. He goes to Fight Island. His opponent brings in a bag of potatoes, gets cut by the UFC. They match him up with Armin, one of the most dangerous guys in the division. He loses that fight by decision. And, I thought he did pretty well against a guy that's a top 15 fighter. And then now he goes in here against a guy that nobody knows and gets a record set in 7 seconds. And then the guy that won, he might have a career-ending knee injury. What's up with his knee? Is it okay, Drake?
There was no specific update on it. He did come back and talk to us. He was on crutches. He said he thinks it's just probably an MCL sprain or something. How do you know that without a diagnosis unless he's had something happen before? But
he's a doctor.
He's a doctor himself. Very happy guy though. He was seemed fine.
Oh, cool.
Huge moment for him. But no official update on him that at least that he provided. Maybe someone's come out since.
But he jinxed himself, man. He jinxed himself in the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, asking Joe Rogan to go on his podcast because he has an incredible story. It's come on.
Do it.
Who was the last one that did that?
Jessica
I. And has Jessica I been on Joe Rogan's podcast yet?
Of course not.
No. I don't think that helps anybody to ask to be on Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan, he chooses who he puts on.
I like it when he has to go on it and Joe Rogan's just like, one day.
Yeah.
One day.
One day. Exactly. One day. He leaves the door open. He leaves the window open. He leaves the little dog flap open.
I wanted one time for him just to be like, nope.
He's like, I don't like you. But McKinney does have an incredible story, but I think you should have used your post-fight interview for something else instead of asking Joe Rogan to go on his podcast. But it is what it is, man. Do your thing.
Stephen Peterson and Chase Hooper.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Chase Hooper, man. I think they should cut him. No, sorry. I don't think they should cut him, but I think they should release him. I think like he needs to go and develop himself, man. I think this experience of him trying to develop himself while in the UFC is not working out, and I think it's just gonna ruin his career. I think they need to just like contract him to go out and fight somewhere else in the regional scene for the next 5 fights. LFA, RFA, PFA, SFC, 9FE. I don't care. Just go and fight lower level competition, develop yourself, because he's just not looking good, man, at all. And he's just taking too much damage. If you notice like how much damage he's been taking in his UFC fights, even though he wins, still taking damage, right? And it's not going to help. He's turning into like a young Diego Sanchez.
That's a bit harsh. That's a bit harsh. You know, we'll turn into a young Diego Sanchez when you see he shaved his head and he's moved to Bali and he's joined the cult of veganism and COVID truth with Leon Jennings.
I heard he got kidnapped by the COVID coalition. And he's holed up in a hut somewhere with coconuts up, covering his breasts.
He's been quiet. He's been quiet lately.
Yes. No, he hasn't. Don't lie. He's been in the chat. Like,
no, there was nothing to do. As in, if Leon doesn't text me some COVID conspiracy theories every day, I'm worried because I'm like, is he okay? Is he alive? That's it. I haven't had anything for 2 days.
Sometimes I open my phone and then I go to my pictures and all of a sudden I have like 40 pictures added to my files and I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Leon sending me COVID related materials. And I'm just like, oh my God, you think I'm going to read all of this stuff, Leon? Leon, rub those coconuts together, man. Come on. Like we need you back here. Did he shave his head for real?
No. No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. All right.
We'll find out.
This fight was a bit of a bomb.
Okay. Yeah. You want to do the first 2 fights?
That was a pretty
I missed them,
awesome fight. The Benjadini fight was pretty awesome. I actually scored this as a draw because I gave it 10-8 to the Italian stallion, but that might have just been because I wanted him to win, and I'm not a big fan of for SCM.
Oh, I didn't even
Smile
watch
Killer. Yeah, I didn't see this one.
I watched the
Drake.
First fight. I skipped this one. I was taking a dump.
For the whole fight, John? Are you okay?
Yeah, man.
I was scrolling through Leon's messages and
exactly. I was 40 pictures.
Takes 15 minutes.
Pictures, 40 graphs and pictures and pie charts and stuff.
Yeah, for Azim, he got the job done here, and it's funny because he's actually a guy who I have not retained his UFC career to this point prior. I thought that this was his debut. Like I just haven't remembered that guy. And again, this fight I didn't think was super memorable. He won the first 2 rounds clearly, almost got finished there in the 3rd round. I don't know if I didn't feel 10-8 exactly. It was close, I think, but he definitely was in a lot of trouble there and hung on. But yeah, another win that I probably won't remember, unfortunately. But good for him. He did it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the opener, Carlos Felipe and Jake Collier. Decision for Carlos Felipe. Someone else tell me what happened. I missed it all.
Big boys slanging and banging.
Yeah, a lot of people thought Jake Collier won this fight, and you could argue for that. I don't think it was a dominant win. He won by split, right? So it could have went either way. I don't know. Collier, I just still think he's a middleweight. I don't think he should be a heavyweight for some reason, but he's just another person to me. I think he should change his name to like Jacob Collins or something. Like he's just a different guy, like when Jake Collier is gone, he's missing. Like
Jake Collier is inside.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, he's inside. That's
ate him. Yeah.
It's like in the movie Total Recall when that fat dude like opens up and there's another person inside, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's inside the fat dude. Like that's what I expect from him when I see him. Like I expect Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jake Collier, the middleweight, to come out, but the thing is, like, Carlos Felipe, he's turning into kind of like a heel a little bit. Do you get this feeling, Drake? Did you get a feeling in the post-fight press conference?
Not really, but I think I know what you mean by the fact that he's very, taunty. He's always kind of waving his opponents on just randomly. He does it a lot, and that can be a little bit annoying for certain people.
And he hates a lot of guys. Like he's like, I hate Hardy. I hate this guy. I hate that guy.
He mentioned Tuivasa, how he doesn't like either of them because they're fighting Hardy and Tuivasa. So he's kind of open about it, and so
why does he hate them? Did he say?
Yeah, he said that he just doesn't like his attitude and how he presents himself, kind of. So yeah,
what
you can check that out on SCMP on his YouTube channel.
Did he look in the mirror when he talks to the camera? Like what is he talking about? Like that doesn't make any sense. But I guess he probably believes something. Like he's split. He like his last fight was kind of similar to this fight too. Like it was very close. I think he won the last fight by a split decision also. Man, he could also be in a 2-fight losing streak right now, but lucky for him, the judges love him. So we'll see what's next.
Yeah, it's pretty
okay.
close.
That's about it then for the card. So,
and guys, I just want to say congratulations to everyone out there. You're 80% of the way through the big weekend of MMA. PFL 1, Bellator, and the UFC have now passed, and we're about an hour and a half into Rising, are we now?
Yeah, Yuki Montoya just won. Montoya. Yuki Montoya.
I haven't seen. I am not up to date on the Rising stuff, so gonna jump on that too.
Hiromasa is about to fight Kasai right now.
Ooh.
But what's his name?
I'm gonna stick some of that on.
Very specific, John. Very specific.
No, what's his name? Musaev's training partner.
Oh, Yamina. Yamina.
No, Musaev's training partner.
Oh,
Karamov.
Yeah, he lost.
Saito. Okay.
Yeah, he lost to Saito by split decision.
Oh,
there was a yellow card involved somewhere in there. So.
Oh wow.
Okay.
You guys.
So the Grand Prix is just about to start.
Yeah, the first fight is over. Yuki won the first fight.
Hey guys, if anyone wants the prediction of the night from myself, I'll tell you guys something. Tenshin's gonna win all 3 rounds of this fight tonight.
I think it's set up pretty good to where he's going to win all 3 rounds, right?
We don't know who Mr. X is yet, do we? We're saving that for the walkout.
Mr. X is DMX. That's who it is.
He's still alive.
He's still alive. That's Ryzen just pulled the biggest
heist of the century.
Exactly. DMX is alive.
To fight tension.
To fight tension, just they used it. But it's a exhausting weekend. Let's just say what it is, right? It's an exhausting weekend, but then we go back to it and next weekend and the weekend after that. But the next pay-per-view is July 10th, which is Connor. Man, that's crazy. They're gonna have that in Vegas. That's gonna be a wild weekend, huh?
Yes.
Is that gonna be in the new
I
stadium?
thought I enjoyed the
T-Mobile.
No. T-Mobile.
No.
And Ramona won you guys as well.
Yeah. Whoa. So much happening. The 3 Lions tonight.
Lima got dethroned.
Hey, what happened to that guy last night? I was saw on Twitter. Everybody's like complaining about the camera angles of the guy that collapsed or something.
Oh yeah. So I was bothering Drake about this. Well,
Yeah,
2 a.m. Hong Kong time.
Dude, I got way too drunk last night. I got a little carried away.
Well, this guy collapsed. He plays for Denmark, and he had a heart attack on the pitch and just collapsed and like died. And then they brought him back to life. But the camera was just like watching him get the defibrillator and CPR.
the camera kept cutting to his wife in the stands who was
Yeah.
crying. And a lot of people were like,
Jesus.
they shouldn't really do that. You know, it's like a private moment. They're stealing her privacy, etc., etc. I probably totally agree to say the truth. But with those kind of things, it's usually the host broadcaster's totally in control of it. It's usually nothing to do with the TV channel because it's in so many countries anyway. But yeah, fortunately,
Yeah.
we haven't seen anything like that in our sport for a long time.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate with that situation, right? Is because whenever something bad happens, like let's say in a fight, like you lose, like you get knocked out, and your
Weidman.
family's there, yeah, they turn the cameras to the family no matter what, right? But I know the guy, he collapsed and he had a heart attack or whatever, but I think like at that moment, that's just kind of like a natural thing you do, is put the camera on like the loved ones or whatever. But like you said, the channels are not in control of it. Whoever is broadcasting it from the location, they control everything that
But
goes
it's much
out, right?
easier in combat sports because the family's ringside. You know exactly where the family are.
Yeah.
You might know what they look like. I mean, you're talking about a 60,000 seat soccer stadium, football stadium. So, to know exactly where his wife is. I don't know if the cameraman knows that or someone has called up the cameraman and been like, his wife is in this area, block Z, row J. Go and point.
No, but don't the family sit in like a certain box? Like they do that for all the athletes. Like in
they do.
baseball.
Obviously, this is sport with 11 people on each team. To know which one is exactly his wife, I think, is probably,
Oh, somebody
I'm
pointed
just
it out to them. It was like a conspiracy. But anyways, he's alive, which is incredible. Like they brought him back.
Yeah. They just updated it. Danish FA or whoever just put out a statement
I'll tell you
saying
one
he's
thing,
doing all right. So.
Everyone out there, that's why everyone should know CPR. Can save a life if you don't know it.
Yeah, and they need to have defibrillators in every football ground, pitch, everywhere.
Every room.
And
every sport.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Leon told us that story when he saw a man dying on the football pitch and he said, I can do CPR, but he said first, are you vegan?
What, he didn't want to put his lips on him or something?
No, he just didn't want to save the guy's life if he wasn't vegan.
Oh God!
I think that's just Chris joshing, right?
That's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Leon has not killed someone for not being vegan. Come on.
That
Leon, I heard Leon didn't want to kiss a girl because she ate meat because he didn't want to get meat on his lips. It's just a legend of Malaysia. The Cambodian king. That's the rumors on the streets of Cambodia. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Just saying.
The streets of Cambodia.
The streets of Cambodia are hot right now. They're hot right now because Leon's gone. They're hot right now.
Yeah.
A quick question for our panel. Did everyone watch PFL?
Yes, of course.
Did everyone watch one championship?
Clarissa Shields. No.
I watched like glimpses of it.
Yeah, I saw the final. I saw Collier's fight kind of. I had it in the background, and then I did watch the Shields fight as well.
Did anyone watch Bellator or Icon?
Nope.
I watched Bellator a little bit.
I watched Invicta.
Oh, Invicta was good fun. Icon was great. Ramona Pascal, big up the win.
It was that on, I don't have Fight Pass, so I don't watch anything that's on Fight Pass.
Yeah, she was on Fight Pass about 12 o'clock, and she got a really dominant win actually in about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, from what I heard, like they're gonna have the Contender Series in like October. So September, October, I think those are the months the Contender Series is gonna happen. September, October, November, something around that span is gonna be Contender Series, like the regular Contender Series and Contender Series Asia will most likely be put together over there, and they're like recruiting like fighters from multiple Asian countries right now. So the biggest problem is I think visas, like getting them to the States with visas. But other than that, I feel like they're not going to have it in Asia because it's just too much of a headache. They're just going to
that just defeats the entire purpose.
Exactly. But the thing is, I feel like they're contracted to like have that show for maybe broadcasting too, and they could only delay it for so long until like, okay, we got to find a way to put these shows on. And here we go. And we know there's going to be a lot of the people that we've talked about before on that show. They're going to come out. So we'll see.
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm probably gonna go now. Hungry. Should shower. Gonna have the England game on my roof, provided it doesn't rain. You coming, Chris?
I'll be there, yeah, man, as long as there's barbecue.
Yeah. So I need to buy some food. That would help. And maybe some coal and fire. That's what we need, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And some spotted dick.
Yes. What?
Isn't that a UK delicacy?
Chris's broken cock. Your spotted dick. Yeah.
I saw it on like Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
Owen
classic.
Wilson. He's like, spotted dick is a UK delicacy.
I think it's a dessert. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it? What does it look like?
I think so.
It's nice.
Is it
I
like
don't know, bro.
is it a cylinder or what? Like
I'm gonna Google it now.
No,
like
it's
what?
like
Careful.
it's like triangular shape kind of cake, and it's like white with chocolate chips. And that's the
Oh.
sauce.
doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad, man.
All right.
I don't know
Well,
why it got its name, but there's probably a reason for it.
Yeah, probably
I'm going to show you what it looks like,
some,
All right.
just for the hell of it.
I'm gonna
some
want some.
STD.
You see that?
Oh, there you go.
It's like a cookie cake.
It's like a muffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Muffin
Mm.
cake.
They do it in a can.
Oh, they got a Heinz spotted dick.
Wow.
Is that real?
Sponge
No
pudding. Interesting.
In a can.
Oh, there you go.
Huh.
Well, no, I will not be having any of this tonight.
Well, I bet you if you found it in the supermarket, you'd probably try it out, huh?
I might do if the
Yeah.
can of Heinz is there. Yeah. Okay.
Big up Ramses. Big up Ramses.
Big up Ramses. Big up John. Big up Chris. Big up Drake for joining me, and big up yourselves in the chat for joining and watching and commenting. And we'll catch you, maybe tomorrow, depending on everyone's mental state. If we want to do something on Ryzen, perhaps Drake and I mentioned, but we'll see. Otherwise, we'll see when you see you. Thank you guys again, and
Peace.
all the best.